waterfall over there. Welcome back to day 3 of walking the Wicklow Way. I've just parked the car back in Glendalough Lodge where I finished on the last day, and just up from that is I showed in the video, the halfway point of the Wicklow Way, 63.5 kilometres. So I was going to say it's all downhill from here, but it certainly isn't. It's uphill. About 10 o'clock I started. It was overcast, couldn't see the top of the mountains. In the last 20 minutes that's all changed, and now it's a blue sky, can't see a cloud, and it's get very hot. In actual fact, it's already 20 degrees, so the car said. And today could be a struggle, a challenge, because of the heat. And the weather forecast, there's warnings. I think in Britain alone they've a yellow warning across the country. So yeah, so I swapped out all my wet gear. So a lot of stuff I normally bring with me, I dumped it this morning, and I replaced the weight with water. I think I'm going to need several litres of water today, and my sandwiches of course. Yeah, so it's going to be a cracker, and it's also going to be a struggle. Bear with me. So that's the Miners Way marker. That starts in a car park at the end of Glendalough. The Miners Way, it basically goes over the 3 valleys of Glendalough, Glendalough and Glendalough. I've done that, I'm going to say, the start of the year. So the first 2 days of the Wicklow Way, I'm going to say I was probably 10 to 20% familiar with the routes, because I had done tracks before in and around the region, the area. Today is, and I hope to do, depending on the heat, can't just get it right, hope to do another 30-kilometre day. That would set me up nicely then to finish on the 4th day. No big deal if it doesn't work that way. So this section, roughly 30 kilometres, unlike the first 2 sections, I'm very familiar with. So I've probably been up and down this neck of the woods, and I'm going to say I'm probably 90% familiar with the routes. I've been on this track before, been in the Glen below several times, so won't have any problem getting lost, unlike the last day. How embarrassing was that? So earlier on, I don't know if you would have noticed a diversion. So leaving Glendalough this morning, there was a slight diversion, not by much, maybe a kilometre, but that can happen. And the point I'm making is that the halfway point, 63.5, will give you an indication it's 127 kilometres long, the Wicklow Way. It doesn't always work out like that, because there can be diversions. I've seen them before for different reasons. Sometimes it is a walking forest, so they're harvesting trees, but also because of maybe storms where trees have fell over and it's just too dangerous, and they bring you around wherever safely. So yeah, just weigh that off. If you are thinking about doing the Wicklow Way, depending on your source of information, I've seen it 127, 131. It's just a rough guide, it's not an exact science. So far, at that point, the 63.5 kilometre marker, I've done 70 something kilometres at that point. So you will need to take diversions, depending on which way you want to do, of course. If it's wild camping, that's probably the most direct way. You don't need the trail really, unless you need supplies or whatever. Yeah, so just be aware of that if you are thinking about doing it. It's always a bit more than it says. That's my experience, probably because of my short legs. So I've just passed a group of ladies walking the Wicklow Way. Well, a part of it anyway. There was about 15 of them, roughly my own age, early 30s. Roughly my own age. And I love that. It's great to see that, you know. I don't know where I should have really asked where you're from, but as I was walking by, you're on a kind of a viewing platform and you're looking up towards Glendalough, and I just happened to say going by, that's Glendalough. But before I knew, they were all around me, and yeah, just they couldn't get enough of. No, I'm not saying I'm an expert, I'm not, but I do know a bit about the history of the place and yeah, the names of the place, where they came from. They were heading to Glendalough. So, for example, Glendalough, the Valley of Two Lakes, translates. So, yeah, so that was fantastic, and I love seeing that. I love seeing people from abroad coming to this country and enjoying it, because we've a lot to offer. So if you're doing the Wicklow Way and you see that it's like a hardcore gravelly compacted track, whether you're going downhill or uphill, it's a killer. I've come up the hill and yeah, some incline. It was a different route slightly. There was like stepping stones, but they were all over the place, so that is safer, but it's every bit as severe in the knees. Over in the distance, in the background, I hope you can see it, is a mountain Glendalough, it's called, at 925 metres. It's Wicklow, as it's actually Leinster's highest point, not just in Wicklow. And it's the highest point outside of Kerry. So if you're looking to bag mountains and you're into climb mountains, Kerry is the place to go, County Kerry. Not saying outside of that there isn't. There's lovely mountain ranges around, Wicklow being an obvious one. So the Mournes in County Down, fabulous. Yeah, there is other, Knockboy in Cork. I shouldn't have started mentioning the names. So there's plenty of options, but the highest ones is in Kerry. And Glendalough, I've been up there before. It's doable, a reasonable level of fitness is doable at 925 metres. Carntool at 1038 metres. So a little over 100, 113, I think I'm right in saying that, metres taller. Not much in the difference, you know, so yeah, not to be taken for granted. Glendalough. Okay, when you see this junction, you have a choice. The Wicklow Way itself continues on through the gate there. That's the official route. However, you go to the left at this junction, it'll bring you around a much more scenic route over the upper valley of Glendalough and the lakes. You get a far better view. The elevation's much higher than that. Is really just through forest service road tracks and so on. I've done a fair bit of that earlier on, so just to yeah, change around a little bit. We're going this way. So the section I'm crossing at the minute is normally a bit of a nightmare because it is bog and it's usually quite wet and slippy. It's basically just one puddle with a load of stones in. But today, because of the several maybe dry days recently, it's quite manageable. And a good job because I don't have any waterproof socks on today. I didn't think I'd need them, but that's the section today that I was a little bit concerned about. My feet got wet there, but didn't need them. Now coming into view is the top of Turlock Hill. So there's an ASB power station up there, upper and lower water reservoir, and then as the water travels through the middle of the mountain somewhere, they'll be obviously tunnelled. I think it was during the 50s. It generates electricity. Probably should do more of that. So just slightly in the cloud there is what I was speaking about earlier, Turlock Hill, and you can just see a man-made object on the top right hand side there. That's the upper reservoir, and the water flows through, as I say, the mountain down below, turning turbines on the way down. To the right then is Camaderry, and dropping down into the valley of Glendalough, you can see one of the lakes down there. So that's the way we're heading now. So just to clarify, the Miners Way and the Wicklow Way travel together at sections at times since we've left the Glendalough area. At this stage, however, we're coming down the Wicklow Way on the right hand side of the lakes as you face the monastery in Glendalough, where the Miners Way goes up over the stream down the far side. You can make that out, travels down, zigzagging path on the left hand side of the lake. Okay, I think they're doing that one. So coming up to 12 o'clock and 10 kilometres done. So walking about 2 hours, which I'm happy with that, considering there's a big uphill section there. Not the last one today, but a big one nonetheless. So plan maybe is to stop for sandwiches. Have sandwiches with me in Glendalough itself. There's a car park there. There's a visitor centre actually, so there's plenty of potential for coffee shops, and there's even chippers and ice creams and touristy stuff. Will do. So I'm descending into the valley of Glendalough, where St. Kevin established the monastery in the 6th century. So it's probably in the top, I'm going to say 5 of tourist destinations to visit when in Ireland. It's so popular. So on the first day I met 5 people doing the Wicklow Way. On the second day maybe 4. Today literally bus loads of tourists arrive here, and there's about 10 different waymarked trails you can do, obviously graded. Yeah, and it's just constant. It's every couple of metres somebody's passing by. This is the first lull I've had in a while. We're not far off the car park now, and I'm gonna grab a coffee and have my sandwiches there. Yeah. Behind me is a round tower. There's a number of them around the country. That's between 900 and 1200 BC. The reason why the door is so high, it's about 12 foot off the ground or so, it's for defensive reasons. So you see the enemy coming, you get all your goodies inside, you leave your wife outside to remove the ladder. You're monks. And yeah, now I heard another reason in Kilkenny, there's a round tower in Kilkenny as well in the city, is because of structural reasons. So engineers have come up with the idea that, well, if the door was on the ground floor, they wouldn't have the same stability in the building because it's over 100 feet high. We only went and got lost again. Oh God, a couple of kilometres there and back. So in my defence, Glendalough, between the upper and lower car parks, so the visitor centre basically, and the where you get some of the food vans. I did stop for a coffee there, and we get fish and chips and burgers and stuff, ice cream. Yeah, so in between there, it's just full of tourists. Full of tourists. It's only short of walking over in between your legs type of stuff. And this is super uphill, by the way, coming out Glendalough. And so when I realised anyway, there's no signs here, just sort of check them up. Oh, good luck. Head back. Where I missed the sign. So I remembered there was a chap standing getting his photograph taken by his partner, whatever, and he's leaning, he's using the sign. It's right behind him, he's actually sitting on it. So I don't feel so silly now. We've just finished a really steep part of the trail there up out of the valley of Glendalough. So I'm still trying to catch my breath, but yeah, so I've changed my hat. It must be 30 degrees. It feels like more, and probably struggling a bit in the heat, but plenty of water with me. And I haven't, yeah, other than the Glendalough break, I haven't taken any breaks really other than that, so I might start. I've plenty of time anyway, probably even slightly ahead of schedule. Yeah, just getting back to the previous point about that chap standing in front of the marker. If you are a tourist, please don't stand in front of the way markers or use them for any other reason other than their intended purpose. Yeah, please. I'd appreciate it, especially in this heat. Earlier on, I forgot to mention, there's St. Kevin's Way, which is about 30 kilometres long. There's 2 start points. I used the one in Hollywood, which I think is the traditional one. It's certainly the one less road heavy. It looks a lot safer. You're on the road for a small bit, mind you. Quiet roads, 4 lanes. And you end up in Glendalough. Uphill for the first probably 15 kilometres, half it, to a point called Sally's Gap, and then it's downhill pretty much all the way into Glendalough. Fabulous walk if you ever get a chance. About 30 kilometres, and definitely well worth doing. So I've just come out of a forest section there. It's cut in half really by a road which I have to cross. There is a river runs through it, but other than that, it's one to be careful with because There is a trail, it is waymarked now and again, but people have made their own way, shortcuts and so on. Maybe they've seen there's a bend because it meanders, or it contours up the hill, taking shortcuts and then creating extra trails. And there seems to be several trails that are not the original trail. So just to be mindful of that. You could get a bit disorientated inside the forest, and to be fair, a paper map is not going to do any good. There's no reference points or, you know, known objects or anything that you can relate to. The compass will only bring you a direct way, which is not always the safest way. And sometimes you have no signal with your phone, so just want to be mindful of going through that section of the forest. It's amazing the little things that make all the difference. So earlier on, just come into view the Sugarloaf when I crested the hill there. So the Sugarloaf, if you don't know, is in Wicklow, and it's beside Bray. So half of Bray is in Dublin, County Dublin, and the other half is in Wicklow. And yeah, just know that I'm making progress now. A little pick me up, not that I need it, look at the scenery. And also there was a little breeze come over the hill. Nice cool breeze. I think it's the first one today, so that was nice and pleasant. It's the little things. So in the last video we were talking about the roffies, I think that's what you call them, the shelters, and there was somebody in the first one, if you recall. The middle one was part of the diversion from Glendalough Lodge earlier on, so Mother Car, we missed that one. And that's the third one there, Busher's Gap, I think you call it. So and there's somebody in there as well. Great to see they're being used, but it's first up best dressed, and probably the slightest bit awkward, I suppose, if you want to join somebody. But there's shelters, and I don't know if you got a good look at it there. I didn't want to be intruding. They have 3 sides, so I think the idea being that it's for inclement weather. Now whether you'd want to actually sleep in them or not, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people do. But you throw up. Oh, somebody's made a mess here. So obviously the shelter was being busy, or being used rather. Inside and near the fire, left rubbish behind. That's always disappointing. There's just no need for it, you know. Really. Bring the rubbish with you. You filthy animal. With your stoves. The flies are becoming a pain in the arse. It seems to be getting worse. I brought 3 different repellents with me that I acquired out 3 different well respected outdoorsy type shops, you know. Now granted, they say mosquito repellent, and in Ireland we don't have a major problem with mosquitoes and malaria and what have you, so maybe just concentrate on the repellent, sell a repellent that gets rid of flies. Maybe a big fly trap that sits on top of your hat or something like that. But there's a market for somebody, because there's a need for it. Because the 3 repellents that are used, if anything, are attracting the flies. last section was tough. It's steep, uphill, and very rocky. You need to be watching your foot. It's easy to go over on an ankle there, but when you stop for a breath, a breather, you get surrounded by flies. Not that there's none here, but that was particularly bad. So you have to kind of keep going. Been a lot of uphill today, more so than the other 2 days, and it's not that they weren't uphill sections, but today, other than the drop down into Glendalough, I feel today has been, yeah, pretty much all we seem to be climbing. But we're over 30 kilometres, we're getting there. So what I noticed today, a lot more walkers than the previous 2 days of walking. So I don't know whether that's, it doesn't really, the maths doesn't work out, so I'm assuming most people just do this section and probably don't go all the way down to Glendalough. Anyway, a lot of walkers, mainly tourists, some Irish in there as well, and some young groups, particularly girls, and they look like they've all the gear, so they know what they're doing. It's great to see it. People enjoying the countryside, but what I noticed was, I say hello to everybody, it's just, yeah. Some people don't say hello back and they just stare at you. Now maybe they don't understand what we're saying, or came me the fault. Couldn't have thought too. Maybe they're not. No, you say hello, and sometimes they just stare at you, and it's a bit uncomfortable. But anyway, it won't stop me saying hello. So, yeah. So if you're coming, over to do your tours, you're coming over to do the Wicklow Way. Yeah, don't be afraid to say hello. It costs nothing, and it might just make a difference and lift somebody's morale. Maybe that might be struggling a bit. So give it a go. Just past a sleeping bag, sitting there at the side of the track. Somebody's at the camping the night, walking off without their sleeping bag. Earlier on I found a map case. Obviously you leave things behind, you don't take them with you, in case somebody does come back. Now by the time you miss your sleeping bag, you're probably not going to be in the position or the frame of mind to go back to where you camped. Yeah, so it's usually the hats you find. I found a pair of shoes one time. Don't know how that figured out. Somebody must have brought a spare pair, I'm assuming. Anyway, yeah, just be mindful of all your kit before you walk off. So the Wicklow Way have come out of this forest, and it turns right here and into the left and into another forest across the way there. I'm not going, this is the end of the day for me. It's 34 kilometres, must be nearly halfway. I'm going to walk up the road here. There's a car park, a large car park on the right hand side, and I hope we picked up there. There's also usually a coffee deck there, so hopefully grab yourself a coffee and relax until the lift arrives. So yeah, fantastic day, really warm. Struggled a bit in that, won't lie. Great for the camera, but I think the first 2 days, the rainy days, somehow or other make it a little bit easier. But not to take from today was fantastic. So the coffee shop was open. Lovely guys inside. I treat myself to a 3-course meal. I'm starving.